What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for tuning in to listen to this episode. It's already Wednesday, and I normally get these out on Monday. So I'm 2 days late. Actually, it's Wednesday night. So I'm basically already 3 days late. So I'm going to keep this puppy a little bit shorter than most episodes. Wanted to do something that I haven't done yet, and that's discuss the market. I guess I have, but I want to give my version of the market report. I want to share some information that I think would be relevant for you. Whether you're a first-time buyer, a looking for your final home, or you're a seller, I think this is all still hopeful. So let's begin. Let's talk about it. So there's this calculation called the month supply of homes or the month's inventory. The way that it's calculated is by taking the number of active listings and dividing it by what's sold in the last month. So let's say in Livingston County, 50 homes are listed on the market and 10 sold in the last month. Then that month's supply would be 5. 50 divided by 10 gives you 5. 6 is considered fair market. Anything more than 6 is typically considered a buyer's market, as there's more choices for buyers to choose from. They have a little bit more power. A seller's market is typically considered anything less than 6. More people are interested in the same house, and it can lead to rises in price. Well, in Livingston County, we are very, very low. There is almost hardly any inventory on the market. So I'll read a couple of numbers off to get specifics for you. In the price range of $201,000 to $250,000, a price point that many first-time buyers are considering, the month supply is 0.63, so it's less than 1. In the $251,000 to $300,000 price point, it's 0.59. In the $301,000 to $400,000 price range, it's 0.82. In the $401,000 to $500,000, it's 0.98. So they're all below 1. It starts to rise again once we get to $501,000 to $750,000, and it's 2 a month. So a little bit higher, but still low. I can't remember exactly what they were at price points less than 200,000. I do think it was a little bit higher than the middle range of 200,000 to 500,000. But here's my point with this. There's almost hardly any inventory in the price ranges that either first-time home buyers or most people, the average person, is planning on spending. I think in Heartland, the average price point's right around 400 or 430. I know that's quite a bit of a difference, but I can't remember off the top of my head. And in Brighton, last I checked, it was above 500,000. So at any price point, there really isn't a whole lot in the market. So what are the implications of this? Well, for one, it seems like it's very heavily favoring sellers, which is true. Again, with little inventory on the market, when a home does become available, it tends to draw a lot of attention, a lot of competition. Now, with that being said, although the seller might be able to sell their home quickly and for either close to asking price or even above it, sometimes even considerably above it, they then face the challenge, if they're going to buy a home, if that's their plan, they're going to have a difficult time doing so, unless for maybe the case is they're looking to downsize and find a fixer-upper. There's a little bit more available, or maybe they're looking to upgrade to a much larger home. Then there's a little bit more available on the higher end. But again, still, there's not much available for them, so they're probably going to face that challenge as well. The other implication is there probably isn't going to be much more demand anytime soon. Last I had seen, interest rates ended up jumping up a little bit, although the expectation is that they will continue to go down as we venture further into 2024. That's probably going to take some time. The real estate market, I think it's interesting from what I've seen. It's not really like the stock market in the sense that it can be as reactive as the stock market. So, example, you think of Apple or Bitcoin. Bitcoin's obviously a little bit crazier, but when there's news, good or bad, the stock can jump as much as 10% or decline as much as 10% in a day or more. I mean, we've seen crazy things happen in the stock market, especially in the last few years. But from what it seems, and I think I had mentioned this before, talking about liquidity, but because the money is tied up, it it doesn't move as fast as the stock market does. So I just think that's interesting. So my point again is there probably isn't going to be a lot more. Many experts say that there isn't going to be much more demand until interest rates drop into the 5 to 6 range. I've also heard people say that when that happens, there's actually going to be more competition, more buyers are going to enter the market, and that might make it even more challenging. Not really sure exactly how that's going to play out, so it will be interesting to see what happens. The last implication that I'll talk about today is when you decide to buy a home, it's probably going to take more time. There's not a lot of inventory, so when the opportunity comes, it's important that you move fast, that you jump on it. And if you don't feel like you're at that point, like, hey, I want to take a little bit more time with this, I don't want to rush into a home, then maybe you continue to rent, maybe you stay at your folks' home, or if you already have a home, you stay there for a couple more years. Um, it seems like that's the best strategy when homes pop up. Yeah, you got to take advantage of them as soon as possible, especially if you're a first-time buyer looking in that price point of $200,000 to $300,000. Talking about competition and having to move fast, I spoke with a friend from Hillsdale the other day, and he had made a good point that I really hadn't thought through fully. You have many first-time home buyers who are doing all they can to get on their first home. They're scraping by with a minimum down payment. They're trying to save as much as possible, and they're looking in that price point of $200,000 to $300,000, where there's very, very little supply, and they're competing against people who are older and retiring, and good chance have more money, have equity in the house, and are able to either put a much larger down payment on the house or pay in cash. So while we're trying to do the best we can to get into that first home, they just are facing competition. The older generation has more leverage with their possibilities of putting much more down or paying with cash. So it's kind of a interesting distinction, interesting point of competition, I guess is the way to say it. So that's really all I have in this episode. Just wanted to give you a rundown of what was happening. Those numbers are from January, not from February. Want to be through the whole month before we talk about what's happening at this point in time. So thank you again for tuning into this episode. I hope you found it valuable. If you did, that's great. If you're interested in buying a house or selling a house or know somebody who is, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to be your agent and represent you in that process. So thank you again. Take care. Have a blessed day.